Okay, let's unpack this. We've all felt it, haven't we? That just overwhelming tide of information online, especially when it comes to something moving as fast as AI and, content creation, it can feel almost impossible to keep up. So for this deep dive, our goal is pretty simple. Cut through all that noise, give you a really crystal clear picture of a topic that's, frankly, critical for anyone making content online right now.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how quickly the entire landscape is shifting. I mean, really quickly.
Yeah.
Especially on platforms like YouTube. So our specific focus today is nailing down YouTube's evolving community guidelines, particularly how they relate to AI-generated stuff and that whole category of faceless content. Because, look, there's a real chance of demonetization or even, channel bans coming down the pike in 2025 if you're not careful. Our whole aim here is to help you figure out these changes, help you avoid those pitfalls. You could almost see it as YouTube trying to protect its own ecosystem, right?
Right. And to help us do that, we've gone pretty deep into insights from an AI teacher, someone who actually guides creators on navigating AI video, faceless content, doing it safely. We've basically tried to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the practical advice on what YouTube actually considers quote unquote work now in this AI age. The idea is to give you a clearer roadmap for keeping your content safe. So, okay, AI is making content creation easier, no doubt. But how is YouTube adapting its core philosophy? Are they just opening the floodgates, or is there a higher bar now?
Here's where it gets really interesting. YouTube seems to be adopting this core idea. AI is a convenient, fantastic tool, absolutely. But, and it's a big but, creators still need to show real effort, originality. It's definitely not a free pass. And the why is pretty clear. YouTube wants to maintain content value. They need to prevent just a massive flood of low effort or worse, identical stuff hitting the platform. That kind of thing erodes trust, right? Drives viewers away. And ultimately, it hurts everyone trying to build a real audience. So this isn't just a minor policy tweak. It feels like YouTube doubling down on what makes, human-created or human-guided content valuable. Our sources, they're pretty direct. They're saying expect potential bans, demonetization in 2025 for guideline violations if you're not seen as putting in the work. So, yeah, this is crucial stuff for anyone who wants to monetize on YouTube. Really crucial.
That makes total sense. They're looking for quality, not just, sheer volume pumped out by AI. So, okay, let's dive into some of the specific pitfalls people are running into with AI, with faceless content, and maybe more importantly, the actual solutions. One classic mistake we learned about involves storytelling videos. You know the ones. These long, narrative videos, sometimes 20 minutes plus, where the creator just uses one single static picture for the whole thing, like those African folktale stories that were popular. They get tons of views. They might even be monetized now, but apparently YouTube is starting to see that as, cheating or just not enough work.
Exactly right. And the solution, fundamentally, it's about visual dynamism. It has to move, visually speaking. For stories, you absolutely have to use different character images, or at the very least, switch to a new image for each scene. So say your story has 7 scenes, you need 7 different images, or maybe even short video clips. Mixing static images with animated scenes, that's perfectly fine. It immediately shows the kind of effort YouTube's looking for. Why? Well, it keeps people watching, right? A static image for 20 minutes is just boring AI or no AI. So that visual variation, it's key for YouTube to recognize your effort, sure, but also the production value and ultimately keeping viewers hooked.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Dynamic visuals. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about what YouTube wants to see. What about what they want to hear? When we think about AI voices, I think most people just think AI voice, generic category. But you uncovered a really surprising, kind of subtle point about platforms like 11 Labs. What did you learn about the different types of AI voices there?
This is, it's subtle, but it could be really important. Inside a platform like 11 Labs, you've got some voices that are purely AI generated, synthesized completely from scratch. But then you have others, and this is the key part, they're sometimes called AI humans, which means they're derived from cloned human voices. And the advice we got, prioritize using those voices generated from cloned humans rather than the totally synthetic ones.
That's fascinating. But practically speaking, for the average person listening, can they even tell the difference between a pure AI voice and one of these AI human ones? Is YouTube's algorithm actually smart enough to pick up on that nuance? Or is it more about, I don't know, the perceived quality you get from a cloned voice?
It's probably a bit of both. The average listener, maybe they won't consciously know the difference, no. But the algorithms, they're always learning, always getting better at spotting patterns of, let's say, uniqueness or naturalness. A cloned voice often just sounds more natural, right? Better intonation, speech patterns. That could signal higher quality to YouTube. Plus, you mentioned 11 Labs isn't totally free for everything.
Which implies a certain level of investment from the creator.
Yeah.
And that often lines up with what YouTube seems to value.
Yeah.
So yeah, paying attention to this detail can definitely help you avoid unexpected monetization problems later on.
Norton writing. Okay, so invest in those cloned voices if you can. Good tip. Next up, another area where effort needs to show up, animated characters, sometimes called talking adverts. If these characters just kind of sit there, static, YouTube flags that too, right?
Yeah.
Not enough effort. It's like they're saying, look, if you're going to use animation, actually animate.
Precisely. Yeah, YouTube's expectation seems pretty clear on this. Animated characters, they need to be lively. That means things like movement, hand gestures, maybe even having them walk around for a little bit. The platform really wants creators to put in that extra work because, again, it makes the content more engaging for the viewer. So even just some subtle animation, it can make a surprisingly big difference in keeping your content compliant. It's almost like they're pushing creators to properly use the tools they've got available. Okay, now for something that sounds like a really big headache, these reuse content flags. We heard this is a severe problem. We're talking about creators who basically just copy everything, the whole story, the images, title, thumbnails, descriptions, even the hashtags from other successful channels, like a complete copy-paste job. And apparently it's more common than you'd think.
Oh yeah, and the direct consequence. It's brutal. Your channel simply will not be monetized. Full stop. Which naturally raises an important question. How can creators get inspired by successful stuff without getting hit with that reuse flag? The advice we picked up is basically, steal with sense, be smart about it. If you're going to use someone else's idea as a starting point, fine, but make sure your characters are obviously different. So if the original used, say, 3D characters, maybe use 3D pixel art or cartoon characters, something visually distinct, and absolutely never use the exact same images. Generate your own unique visuals. That's critical. Also, don't try and find or make voice notes that sound just like the original, even if that original video went viral. Aim for your own sound. And crucially, your metadata, title, thumbnail, description, hashtags has to be your own, distinctly yours.
So basically, no more trying to just piggyback on a viral hit by duplicating it wholesale.
Exactly. And one more thing on this. If you are using an AI, like our source called it charitability, probably referring to something like ChatGPT. To generate a story, you need to be explicit. Tell it. Create this story with my unique characters and write it in my specific style or words. You have to guide it, feed it enough unique input to make the output truly yours, not just a generic rehash. Our sources even mentioned, look, sometimes it's actually better to get proper guidance, maybe even pay a small fee, $50, $150 for a course or something, instead of just blindly copying what you see on YouTube and risking your entire channel.
Yeah, it really sounds like genuine effort is the way to go, and sometimes that means a small investment. Which kind of brings us neatly to the financial side of things, right? Relying only on free AI tools, that might actually be risky in itself.
That's right, it can be. Take reaction videos, for instance. If you're using AI to react to videos maybe for news commentary or a podcast-style format, you probably need a paid, what our source called a good AI tool, something sophisticated enough so the AI character can actually move, point, maybe gesture properly. You need that capability to avoid that static character problem we just talked about. And there's another risk, getting stuck on just one popular tool, like say ChatGPT for everything. If everyone uses it, you risk getting the same story, even the same character name sometimes, and boom, reused content flags again. So you really got to branch out, explore other options, maybe Gemini, maybe DeepSeek, to get fresher narratives, different angles. And yeah, that small investment, maybe it's just $10 a month for some of these tools, it can seriously boost your chances of getting monetized within, say, a month. Assuming you're posting consistently, like daily, it's really an investment in the channel's viability.
That's a super practical, actionable tip. Branch out with your AI tools. Okay, finally, let's touch on a couple of specific niches. Ones that often get tagged as potentially low effort, like relaxation channels and prayer channels. They seem simple on the surface, but YouTube's expectations are evolving even there, aren't they?
Absolutely. Take relaxation videos. It used to be okay, maybe, to just have like a flowing river sound and one static picture of a waterfall for 10 minutes. Not anymore, it seems. Creators now need to input characters, as the source put it. That means showing people getting massages, maybe splashing in a pool, or even adding animated elements, flying butterflies, birds, that sort of thing, visual interest. And you probably need to pay for AI music tools too, like Suno AI, to make sure your audio is original as well. Same idea for prayer channels. It can't just be a long prayer typed out on screen with a static image of clouds and a voiceover. They need different images throughout. And the prayer text itself, that needs to be animated. Like maybe use that typewriter effect you can get in CapCut so the words appear as the narrator speaks them. And again, change those background images frequently. The core message is YouTube's expectation for demonstrable effort now applies across the board. All content types. They're pushing for more dynamic, more engaging visuals, even in these formats that seem simple. It really does make you think, doesn't it? About how content creation is evolving. What was fine a couple years back is now potentially flagged as low effort just because the tools got better, and maybe viewer expectations rose too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, let's try and summarize this deep dive then. YouTube is definitely adapting fast to all this AI content. And it looks like success on the platform now really hinges on showing genuine work, real originality, and using these powerful tools smartly. It's about being more creative, more strategic, maybe not just faster or easier.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, understanding these shifting guidelines, it's not just about dodging penalties, right? It's fundamental. It's key to building a YouTube presence that's actually sustainable, that you can monetize long-term. It's really about creating content that actually stands out in what's becoming an incredibly crowded space, content that YouTube itself values and hopefully wants to promote.
You know, perhaps the most important takeaway here is that easy isn't always safe. Not anymore. Maybe the real shortcut to success on YouTube with AI isn't really a shortcut at all. It might just be a deeper commitment to creativity and, yeah, the strategic effort we talked about. Makes you wonder, what stands out to you, listening right now, about how AI is reshaping content creation? So what kind of work do you think platforms will demand next? Lots to think about.